Welcome to the Visit Vallejo Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Jones, a local professional musician and amateur foodie who can't stop eating all the amazing food Vallejo has to offer. This month, in celebration of Restaurant Week, we'll be taking a closer look at Vallejo's thriving food scene. In this series, we're meeting some of the chefs behind these iconic restaurants and finding out what life is like on the other side of online ordering. We're going to be visiting some old favorites and some really exciting up-and-coming restaurants. If you're not hungry yet, I guarantee you will be.
So my name is Tiffany Marco, and I co-own this Grind Cafe with my husband, Marco. We are a local coffee shop, family-owned. We've been here a little over a year and a half. August, I would say about a year and 4 months now. I say 9 months in, the pandemic hit, so we were a little concerned when I won't say we were concerned, but we weren't expecting it, so we had to pivot. But luckily, the community's been showing up, man. We've been getting so much love from the community. We're directly across the street from a courthouse, which is how I actually discovered this coffee shop. I was an employee at the courthouse across the street, and I would come here to get coffee. And I would come here and talk to the previous owner and just tell her how much, I would love to have a coffee shop. I would even ask her questions, how she got the coffee shop. And so we just chat. And eventually a couple years goes by, and I end up working from home doing some consulting. And I was just at home online one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm really tired of doing this. I really want to do something else. And I just felt this strong urge, look up coffee shops for sale. So I look up coffee shops for sale on Craigslist, and this coffee shop pops up. So I run upstairs, I tell my husband, like, oh my gosh, look, because coffee shop is for sale. No money yet. No, I don't know how we're going to get it, but I just run up. I said, I'm going there tomorrow, and I'm just going to talk to her and just find out. So long story short, we ended up talking to the then new owners. It wasn't the previous owner that I used to chat with, but it was the current owner who was there now, and she fell in love with us. She met myself, she met my husband, and we just talked. I told her about my dream, how I've always wanted to do this, and they ended up saying, you know what, we have somebody who's already interested. They have the money, but we like you guys. Yeah. And they were like, we're going to go with you guys. And we're like, oh, yes, it was a lot of prayer. And, my husband's a pastor, and we have a church, and they were also pastors of a church. And so they just really connected with us well on that point. And from then on, we worked out some great terms, and we ended up, I think the next month, like 30 days later, it transitioned to myself and my husband owning it. And so, yeah, he may want to chime in and add some more detail to that.
That's pretty much it. We jumped in and not knowing too much about the coffee business at all. I didn't know anything about the coffee business, but just have faith to just do it.
Yeah. So what was your initial thought when your wife was like, hey, let's open a coffee shop?
My wife always has some great ideas. I mean, she always got something that she wants to do.
I'm a serial entrepreneur at heart.
Yes,
honestly.
Awesome. Yeah.
We always got some, I support her, and when she has an idea about something, I look at it and I support her in these adventures. And this is another one, but this is one of the ones she talked about for her ever since we've been married. So we've been praying about this already. Yeah. So it wasn't
a huge shock.
It wasn't a shock. It was like, okay. And I was like, man, let's get it. And then, it was a little doubt at first. And I was like, I said, I would hate to look back and say, what if we would have? And I said, that's the main thing. Yeah. We wouldn't have. So we jumped in, and, God's been carrying us through, and the community been coming out. It's been great.
Yeah, and that's what made me want a coffee shop. Like, I always frequented coffee shops. They were my go-to when I just wanted to relax. And, up when everything was up and open and, people would come. I would go to coffee shops to relax and read a book or just I love coffee, too. Even though I'm not, it's funny now because I don't drink the fancy stuff as much anymore. I'll just get a regular cup of coffee. But even with no experience, never honestly even ran a restaurant business before, never had a coffee shop. I just knew we had the heart and the work ethic to figure it out along the way. And with the help of, I said, the previous owners, giving us the training. I wasn't a barista, but now I feel like I'm up there with the best. We're creating our own drinks now. So we just have the heart and just, like I said, the work ethic to make it work. So we've been just learning along the way. And it's been great.
Yeah. And so you both grew up in Vallejo?
Yes, we are Vallejo natives, and that's what else helped. Because my husband, he knows a lot of people in the city. So that helped with the marketing. Word of mouth got out that we were getting a coffee shop, and people just continue to come.
We took the food game up. The food game is a big level that we raised up, and people know that when they get their burritos or whatever, it's a lot of love in the food that they get, and they keep coming. So the burritos and everything that we get, and then they was like, man, this is good, and so they come because the food is good, and they know. And in our environment, very friendly environment. We're a family-owned business. Our kids work here too. And it's
they're not always happy about that.
They're not always.
They spend their Saturdays and after school coming to help out at the grind.
Cool. So let's get into some of the food. You'd mentioned the burritos and such. Why don't you just kind of go through a general kind of vibe of the menu, some inspiration behind the food, and if you want, you could maybe get into how you make one of your favorite. Unless that's a secret.
No. I'm just thinking there's so much. Oh, yeah. I will tell you what's become very famous here, and I wasn't sure. It's my chocolate chip cookies. I love a good chocolate chip cookie. Not just like an average, just like, okay, that's good. No, I like a good chocolate chip. So I studied for months on trying to come up with the best chocolate chip cookie recipe. And so I got it down from scratch. They're made from scratch every morning. They're baked fresh every morning. And people are coming here. They call here now in the morning. Hey, I'll be there at 2:00. Can you take my cookies out? And so that's a big staple. And so I'm really wanting to think of ways that we can really magnify that. So I started off with small batches, but we were running out by 10:00.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, I need to make more. So now that's one of the things that's becoming very popular here. Yeah. And then my husband's burrito, when the burritos first started here, they were average size. When we first started coming, it was like, okay. And so we were making burritos one day. He's like, no, we gotta amp this up a notch. When people come here for burritos, they want a burrito. So I'm like, all right. So he tripled the ingredients inside of them and actually called it, this is a super burrito. And so that's actually probably our most popular menu item right now. And it comes with bacon, egg, cheese, salsa, sour cream, and sausage as well. And it tastes really homemade. That's what we hear all the time. People can technically probably make it at home, but if you don't want to make it at home, you want to come somewhere where it's going to taste good. Like you actually made it at home. And so...
they can't make ours though. Right.
Well, you can probably take some of those ingredients, but it just doesn't quite taste the same. People say that all the time. I wanted to, but it just
We got people that drive from Oakland out here just for, not even that, just our burritos, but our breakfast bacon sandwiches. Guys, I drove everywhere in Oakland. I could not find one that tastes like this, so I come from Oakland.
Yeah.
They all the way for a bacon sandwich.
I
said, man, from Oakland? I said, all right. I got to tell you something. So
they just taste really, you can taste the love that's put inside. Yeah. And then as far as the drink wise, the most popular drink is the lavender white mocha. And you don't think those two flavors go together, but they do. And a lot of people think I created that, but I have to give credit actually to the previous owners actually came up with that. Oh. And she let me try it when I first came. She said, this is probably going to be your most popular drink, so I need to teach you how to make it. And I tried it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is delicious. I wouldn't think lavender white mocha go together. I'm like, I don't want it to taste like a flour or soap, but it's far from that. And that's actually our most popular drink here. It's like a staple, a signature, because I don't think many people are making it here in Vallejo. So
yeah, probably not. Yeah. So maybe this might be too detailed or too much to get through, but is there any way you could kind of sum up what it's like opening your own business in the food industry, coming from not like you didn't go to culinary school? I think it's fascinating for a lot of people that have that dream but are too kind of scared to take that jump. So is there any you could kind of summarize the learning process? Like taking something that you cook at home and actually turning it to an item on a menu.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We think of things we like to eat at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
How things burrito. That's yeah. So I think that's just as far as the business part side of it, that's always difficult. Just because we're just learning a lot of stuff. My wife's learning a lot of stuff, and I'm teaching too at the same time. So I'm a teacher. Teach 6th grade, so just trying to do all at the same time is difficult, and finding the right mentors to mentor you in this business is huge. Yeah, very huge. We have been, by the grace of God, literally, we've been able to, just maintain and do well here. You know what I'm saying? And just even with people, God's been sending people from different areas to help support my wife and us in just the business aspect on how things should be ran, and so it's been a big learning curve, but we've been going with it.
Yeah. I also, when I started the coffee shop, when I imagined having a business, I'll just go have a coffee shop. Me and my friends will come sit down and have coffee, and I'll get to chat and we get to catch up, and it was like, it is nothing like that. Owning a business is a lot of work. So I wouldn't even tell anybody like, you can do it. I mean, you can, but you got to be able to push through the challenges, because there are going to be hard days. There are going to be days where you're like, oh man, can I really do this? And then you're like, you know what? Absolutely. Like when you're able to push through those days, the work ethic is going to speak. You're going to attract the people that you need to help push you to the next level. So I would say mentors are huge. I really was intentional about seeking out people who've done this for years already, who've been in this game already, food and restaurant industry, YouTube videos, I mean, everything. I'm looking up like, hey, you've been doing this for a while. A huge mentor, and to give him a shout out, is Journey's Coffee. They're really big. Monet Hughes, the owner like that, like he's really been open to taking me under his wing, and just sharing his knowledge. Trying to think of other mentorships that I have. Just having
the manager of Journey's.
Yeah, the manager of Journey's Coffee, Sam. Sammy's been great. Like she's the director, and I just reached. Honestly, it's just doing it afraid. I love that quote. Like whatever you do, just do it afraid, even if you're not sure. We're not always sure 100% of what we're gonna do or if it's gonna work. But the worst case scenario, okay, that didn't work. Let's go back and try something else. And I think a lot of people think, if I want to start this business, if I want to do this, if it doesn't work, then it's just over with.
Right.
And it's not. It's like, okay, that didn't work for us. Let's try something else. And you just keep going, and then look for the mentors and the resources that can help you get to the level you want to get to.
So you kind of mentioned that you were a teacher, and we were going to kind of get to what's life outside the restaurant a little bit like for you guys. Where you grew up in Vallejo, and you're currently teaching?
Yeah, I teach 6th grade, English and social studies. Right now in the back of the grind in the office area. So during my breaks, when I give the kids breaks, I make burritos, or whatever they need made, so I'm just like watching the back too. And I'm a pastor too, so we combine. We do church here too on Sundays. So outside we do church. We feed a lot of people. We do a lot of giving away, food giveaways and gift giveaways, and we combine ministry with business, and it's been great,
Yeah. Outside of that, we try to do things that are family oriented. Movies was our favorite thing, but that's obviously closed. Camping, huge one for us. We love camping. We love outdoors. So, outside of that, just spending time with our family and friends.
Cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of outside a little bit, and just in the bigger picture, what does owning a business in Vallejo mean to you guys? And more specifically, what do being African-American business owners in Vallejo mean to you?
Well, I was here tonight when they was breaking into a lot of the business. So I parked my car on the sidewalk. I was here like all night. Well, not up, but it was real late, like probably about 1:32 in the morning. And I was here when the armed guards was out with the rifle. I mean, the actual National Guard was out here. And
that was what the George Floyd, when that
George Floyd,
happened.
the riots. Nobody came through, and there was a bunch of people. They was having marches everywhere, but they knew that this is our own business. I think it entails a lot of pride too. Also, with I'm a teacher, so it's a lot of young African American kids that oh yeah, my mom told me about your business. Yeah, we're a business owner too, so it's good for our community to see other African American business owners in Vallejo, that's from Vallejo, that went to school here, that know, from Cooper. I went to Cooper, then went to Springstown, then went to Hope. So I know about Vallejo. I know the streets. I stayed on Sonoma Boulevard. I stayed in College Park. I'm from College Park area. Played North Vallejo Little League. So been entrenched in Vallejo. So everybody, it's good for people that's the city to see people that's from here, because I know a lot of times the outside people that don't even live in Vallejo might have businesses in Vallejo, but still don't contribute to Vallejo. And that's what we want to make sure that we're here. We're going to contribute to our people in Vallejo, the city of Vallejo. So, especially when Starbucks thing happened.
Yeah, that was, oh my gosh, that propelled our business. So from the George Floyd incident up to Starbucks, I guess telling employees, I'm not sure the full detail of the story, but when they said that they weren't allowed to wear the Black Lives Matter, so a lot of people protested against that. They're like, oh, we're not going. They didn't have the full story. That was just like what happened. I would say literally, I said, nobody's going to Starbucks. Let me just put a post out and just say, hey, let us reintroduce ourselves. We own a coffee shop in Vallejo. You can come support us. We support Black Lives Matter. I'll tell you, literally the next morning, we had a line around the corner.
I feel like I was in that line.
Were you in that line?
I think I was.
My gosh.
I think we were parked out the street.
It was insane. It was, we were excited, but it was, oh my gosh. It was just like crazy. It was, and that happened for a good, I want to say month almost.
Yeah.
Literally for something so tragic to happen, we ended up reaping also some benefit. We hate what happened in that situation. As far as community, we're huge. That's one of our biggest pillars here. We love to give back to our community. That's why you always see us doing food giveaways and Christmas giveaways and helping the people in our community. Because, this is, it's not the best part of Vallejo, but it's a reflection of who we are in this community. And they see us, they feel comfortable coming here because we're a reflection of the neighborhood that we're in. And so people love that. And so, like I said, with the Black Lives Matter movement and the Starbucks issue, that actually propelled people who didn't know about us. They're still coming here today. Yeah. We gained a lot of customers from that. And so people like to support local. People, they don't want to always support the big chain companies. Yeah. They're like, hey, I want to support a local coffee shop. And then in addition, a Black-owned coffee shop. And so that's been great.
Yeah, you got the dynamics of local businesses that you want to support. And you got it's very not a lot of African American businesses in Vallejo too that run food. You definitely got the House of Soul, which is a staple in Vallejo, but other than that, you don't have too many other than that. So the community came out, and it was more just being in support of just African American businesses, which has been really difficult. If you study the history behind it, we're the last to get loans. We're the last to get a lot of, our interest rate are always higher than, so even with buying homes, though, so the whole system is set up that we barely can make marks. So I was glad to see the community seeing this
everywhere,
and actually coming out and supporting, business, business.
So. We have so many demographics. That's why also I wanted a coffee shop too, because it reaches across all ethnic, denomination, whatever, we have so many demographics that come in who support us. And they come in, oh, I'm so glad you guys are still here. I'm so glad you guys are hanging on. I'm sending my family. We're going to come here. So That's definitely been a blessing.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that you had opened almost right before the pandemic hit. So if you could share kind of the hardships of that and what you had to overcome and how you adapted, because you obviously adapted quite well. So
yeah.
Anything specific or?
Specifically, I would say when it first hit, because primarily our main customer is the government center.
Yeah.
Because this was our primary customer base. And so when that happened, I would say 80% of them were mandated to work from home. So we were like, oh man. And I had staff here, maybe 2 or 3, and eventually we had to furlough them, let them go. And just me and my husband were working it. And I remember we would just be in here working, and then people were like, oh, how you guys doing? We're like, we're okay. We're just going to put our head down and work. We just keep hanging on as long as we can. We're just going to see what happens. And then, ironically, that's when the Starbucks thing hit. And then from there, a situation, like I said, was designed where we weren't sure, okay, well, let's just see how long we hang on till we actually did well during, luckily with the pandemic, with people wanting to support more Black-owned businesses. That was really huge for us. So I would say first couple weeks was this kind of, all right, let's just see what happens. But even the county employees, they were huge because even if they were at home, they still come on their lunch hour and they drive over. And so people really continue to support even through the pandemic, even though it was rough in the first month or so. Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm pastor, so God is really the source of, firmly believe that just been taking care of us. I mean, I remember we had fires. Mm-hmm. Out here. Then we had the power outages. This is before the pandemic.
Yeah, power outages.
We had the power outages where everybody was losing power everywhere.
Our power stayed on.
Our power stayed on.
Out of all the whole businesses, we were like, whoa.
Yeah, I got it. We have to, and I know that God is a part of it, and people try to take him out of it, but I know we're solely, I'm solely a truster and faith in God. But there's power out all these different businesses around us. We were the only power that was on. People would come here and charge phones. They would get coffee. Yeah. I mean, literally right next door, no power. Over here, no power. Power here. So, and it's just amazing to see. And then we transit. So all these different transitions, we still have maintained and we actually, a lot of times we did better than, people say, we was doing great, doing this. And so it's just been great to see. Another thing we have to mention is that it did help us too, because we transitioned from understanding the online game. Mm-hmm. Before, we didn't understand. It was just you come in and pay. Yeah. We had to up our game on the online store. How is the online store designed? Like that was Tiffany sat down, we went through all, should we get this? Should we get
I think it's the first thing I did. That was the first thing I was like, I gotta figure out how to make a website so people can go online.
Right. So it made us stronger.
And really, the DoorDash.
DoorDash.
Yeah, we definitely learned how to pivot.
Yeah,
and that's
we did.
all part of business. Yeah. You gotta be able to pivot. We do the curbside pickup now. It's like, okay, what if people don't want to come in? All right. Take it to their car.
There it is.
And so, we definitely, that's all a part of business. Learning to pivot in whatever times you're in.
Yeah. And so some people, it's surprising that other people have had business longer than us and still had not jumped into the transition. Like we was on top of the transition.
Like DoorDash.
Like they folded, because they couldn't jump in on the transition. And one thing that we're always good about is being like a chameleon. We just, we just change, make sure that we a step ahead of the game.
Shift.
And we're shifting. Yeah. So it helped us with that, Yeah.
And we weren't, luckily too, we're not solely based on sit down, even though I know a lot of people like to come and sit down in coffee shops. And we did, people will come in here all the time and do meetings and everything. But because our menu is kind of based, kind of to go anyway, everything we make is kind of wrapped to go. So that kind of helped. Unfortunately, some of the restaurants who depended on the experience of being in that restaurant and having parties and sitting down, I imagine it was a little more difficult for them. But here, most people, they were used to 15, 20-minute breaks. So we were already prepped to, hey, wrap your sandwich, grab it, and go. So it kind of, we didn't have to shift too much in that, but the DoorDash and the Uber Eats, we definitely had to do that.
They are taking 30%.
Yeah,
You need to work on that and protest that. It's a lot of money, man.
Yes.
You know, and so you need to work on, President DoorDash got to go down, especially on, you got mom and pop's businesses.
Yeah.
Now I can see if you're corporate, where they got more money, but your mom and pops, there's no way they should be charging the same amount as you charge for corporate businesses. So that's another thing that we hopefully can work through.
So now for a fun question. If you had to eat one thing on the menu every day for the rest of your life.
Oh my God, we've done that almost. Our kids won't even eat here anymore. Our workers like, I don't want anything here. But for the rest of our life?
The rest of your life, one thing on the menu.
You would so eat that jalapeno burrito. Oh my God.
Probably in between the hot link burrito, probably.
That hot link burrito is really good.
I'd probably eat that. It's between that or the chicken, garlic chicken salad. So eat that,
I know, I hate to say the same thing, but, or you know what, something simple, the bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant. It's simple.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that one is pretty. It's a real buttery croissant, so I can do that. Yes, and also for Restaurant Week, we are offering a free cup of coffee. If you purchase any breakfast sandwich or breakfast burrito, you will get a free cup of coffee on us. Our coffee is delicious. Shout out to Muschetti. That's where we get our coffee from. Yes, he is Fabrice. They are awesome, wonderful things. If I run out of coffee, that's what I love about using him as well. In addition to their coffee is delicious, he's right up the street. So I run out of something, he sends his guys down right away to get us coffee. But
Vallejo helping Vallejo.
Yes, Vallejo helping Vallejo. We try to keep local with a lot of things a lot of our suppliers too. So.
Very cool. Well, thanks so much for having us.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
We'll be back.
Yes,
all right. Yes, come back by so you can try that hot link burrito.
Oh, yeah.
Or the vegan option.
hot link burrito. That's the one. That's the one.
Thanks so much for listening to the Visit Vallejo podcast. Big shout out to Manny and his team at Visit Vallejo for all their hard work during Restaurant Week. Thank you to all the local restaurants for having us out and chatting with us. Please stay safe, stay hungry, and eat local.